Today we're going to be talking about a game that I've wanted to cover on this channel for a very long time now, and that game is called Tokyo Re. Now in the past, before they changed the name and just revamped the whole game in general, it was called Type Ghoul, but the owner actually rebranded and revamped the whole game because who wants to be named after Type Diddy? Now Tokyo Re is a Tokyo Ghoul inspired game that is confirmed to have hardcore permadeath mechanics incorporated into the game's gameplay. And I know how a lot of you guys feel about hardcore games or games that have permadeath in it, so this game is going to be quite niche in terms of its player base and people who actually want to play it. However, we haven't had a good Tokyo Ghoul game on the platform and honestly forever. If you are a fan of Ghoul, well, congratulations to you. However, me myself, I wasn't a fan of that game and never really played it, never took any interest in it. So in my opinion, we've actually never had a good Tokyo Ghoul game on the Roblox platform. Now, before we actually get into the main part of this video, I'm very sure the developers haven't stated anything in terms of the game's release date. And yes, the game will most likely be for PC. So PC, no mobile as of right now, no console as of right now. If things do get incorporated to the game that is mobile and console, I'll let you guys know. But from what we do know, this game is going to come out to the public eventually. It's first going to go into a closed community stage, which is pretty upsetting to a lot of people. I know a lot of hate the idea of closed community, but a lot of people love the idea of closed community as well. So again, very niche. As of right now, I have no information of how to apply for closed community or how to get closed community, and I think the owner said they're gonna handpick people and do events for CC or in order to pick people for CC. So again, link in the description. We'll have the game's Discord server so you guys can find out more information. Okay, so I will vaguely just kind of break down information that we do know in this video, and then about 30 minutes after this video goes up, I will talk about, or we will watch combat videos on Tokyo Re, and then tomorrow I'm just gonna completely upload the full VOD of the podcast because I'm very sure the owner is able to explain the game better than I can. So getting into what we know about progression, which I find really interesting. With ghouls, there will be Kagune progression, and I think the Kagune progression is quite interesting. Now if you look in the footage that you're seeing, you are actually able to see the different variations of Kagune, and I'm very sure they're all gonna function differently in the game in terms of combat styles, abilities, evolution, etc. And the owner did state there will be a full Kakuja. So there is going to be a full Kakuja. My only concerns is how many different variations of full Kakujas are there going to be to obtain. I'm very interested to see how they pull this off and how cool they are in terms of how powerful they are, abilities, what different stats they give, etc. Is there going to be a nice variation so that players can, you know, don't run around looking super identical? As well as that, is there going to be any form of customization with your full Kakujas as well? I think they spoke about eyes as well. Each of your ghoul eyes are like kind of different to each other, or work differently to each other, or customized different to each other. I'm not too sure. Something along those lines. Again, pretty cool. In CCG officers, or if you are a ghoul, you can become a CCG officer. However, you're not going to be able to obtain your full Kakuja, and you're not going to be able to obtain full Arata. And if you don't know what Arata is, it's basically how CCG officers are able to fight against and compete against really powerful ghouls. It's the armor they wear that makes them look super cool. So yeah, that is going to be in the game. And if you're a ghoul that works for the CCG, you're just kind of going to be base. You're going to be plain. So obviously there's going to be downsides to working with CCG, but I'm very sure the upside of working with the CCG is that you cannot be hunted. Yes, there is going to be hunts in this game. So CCG officers are going to be able to arrange a server hunt for ghouls that have the identity known to the public. And we'll go into identities right after this. So if a ghoul has the identity known to the public, like they know who you are in your human form during nighttime, yes, nighttime, because nighttime is when permadeath happens. So be careful when you're roaming around at night. CCG officers will go around the streets, will run up in the servers, hunt either specific ghouls or a group of ghouls that have the identities leaked to the public. Now, this is going to be kind of interesting for people who want to be ghouls that are streamers, because everyone's going to know that you're a ghoul if you stream. But we'll figure out a way around that. Looks like I have to be a CCG officer, isn't it? So just from that statement alone, you can see how immersive this game is planning to be. And yes, with the identities, there's going to be masks and things to cover your face, so that when you're a ghoul and you're out fighting CCG officers, or when you're out progressing and you have your Kagune out in display, you're eating bodies, etc., people don't know who you are. So during the day, or even if you're out roaming the streets at night as a quote-unquote human, disguised human, no one's gonna know you're a ghoul. Some people are most likely not just gonna attack random people walking around, because you can be a normal human, or you can be a human that doesn't look like a CCG officer. You could be wearing plain clothes, not have your equipment out, and you'll look like a regular person. So CCG officers aren't just gonna go around attacking people on the street that don't have CCG gear on. You're gonna kind of need to be coordinated playing the game, which is really fun. Now, the owner did also say there's gonna be a lot of different forms of progression as well, so that people don't just spend the typical 3 hours farming in order to get max level and then just PvP. Then you're bored of the game after a couple of days. Oh, did I mention CCG officers are able to rip limbs off of ghouls in order to take their cells? And I'm very sure their cells is gonna kind of work. It was kind of gonna be how you get your orator, as well as how you get your CCG case weapons. I forgot the name of it. I can't really pronounce it, but yeah. So again, hunting ghouls as a CCG member, especially rogue ghouls, is going to be super important and tie into your progression heavily. As well as that, ghouls are actually able to rip limbs off of people, just people they've killed in general, and save their limbs for later. So when they get hungry, they can feast. And even with all I just said, this is only surface level of what things are going to be in the game. Obviously, we only got a brief explanation of how these things are and how they may or may not work. What we've seen, or what I tried with combat system, kind of works like deep woken type soul type of combat. Now it's more grounded, so maybe let's not say type soul. I say it's more grounded on terms of deep woken base combat. You have your rolls, you have your roll cancels, you have blocking, you have parrying, and you have a evasive type of system that if you press it, you just completely like avoid the attack. You do some cool animation, which I only got to pull off once. I was playing in NA servers, but yeah, the combat is actually pretty good, pretty cool. Now obviously, in terms of the game's movement and fluidity, there are things that need to be polished up. I didn't really get to experience it to its fullest because I was in a laggy server. Well, I had 200 ping, so I did experience a bit of lag. So I don't know if it's actually like that, but there are some instances where some things were just not as responsive as I would want it to be, and worked out to be a little bit too stiff. Again, it was my first time hopping in the game, so maybe I just wasn't used to the fluidity of the game. But from what I did like, I did enjoy it. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 in terms of its combat fluidity. And then with CCG weapons, I got to try them out a bit. I didn't get to try out any Kagunes, but I got to try some CCG weapons, and yes, they are definitely overpowered. So there's going to be normal CCG weapons, then there's going to be legendary and rare, probably mythical CCG weapons that do some cool things. And I think there's some sort of case customization. Maybe the cases come with the rarity of the weapon that you obtain, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot to this game and it looks super interesting. Definitely one of those games I can't wait to play. Obviously CC is gonna last a while, and after CC will be public release. Now we don't know if the game's going to be pay to play or free to play as of right now, so again, we're just gonna have to wait and see. There is no set release date for the game. There's no time frames on testing and CC, so everything's really up in the air. And I just wanted to briefly talk about what I experienced in Tokyo Ori. I'm not gonna lie, why the game looks super interesting. I will be uploading the combat that I got to experience, just the raw combat, me trying things out, etc. And then tomorrow I'll just post the full showcase with the owner of the game. So I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Love and appreciate y'all.